Hey, hello everybody. I thought because it was a bonfire night that I would do a little live with you and perhaps tell you the story of the first fire. Are you sitting comfortably? Would you like to hear it? I got a few different fire things that I thought that I would show you guys tonight. Oh, got all these messages coming through. Yeah, and I thought I'll put a PayPal link underneath. We're all out of work obviously at the moment as performers and stuff, and I thought it could be something maybe. So, are you ready? This is a story that is, oh god, 3,000 years old, I think. You can either see me or see the fire. So, the story of the first fire. So where I come from, there's this story which is there's two thunderbirds that live up in the sky, and they're always having sexy times, these thunderbirds, and so they have an awful lot of babies. I'll come a bit closer to the fire. Now when the babies are born, of course it's hot, maybe I should put it that way, no. When the babies are born, there's so many babies, so many eggs that they roll about on the top of the clouds. And sometimes an egg falls off, and the father thunderbird, he flies so fast to chase that baby that he leaves a trail of fire, thunder, behind him. Now one day he had this, he'd flown so fast and left the trail of fire behind him that he'd left a spark of fire that hit in the middle of a trunk of a tree. And it started a fire much like that. Now at this time, this was before people. This is a true native story. So at this time it was before people, and Chief was the bear. Now he said, before I ask anybody else to go over there and catch that fire so that we may warm ourselves by it, so that we may cook with it, so that we may see the light and be able to hunt, etc. Somebody needs to go and harness the power of the sun. Bring it back for our people. Now Bear, he was the first one to have a go at it. And between him and this fire was water. It was on an island that this fire had started in the tree stump. So he swam all the way over the water until he got to where the fire was. When he got there, he just jumped in the middle of that tree stump, jumped right in, and he made himself black. Now he used to be the white polar bear, now he's the black bear, and you often see him on Indian land. Now, anyway, he got so burnt and so frightened that he thought, forget that, I'm getting out of this fire. And he got back in the water and he swam all the way home. And he held a powwow and he said, hey people, we have the power of the fire, the power of the sun. We need this. Somebody here, can you go and get it? I couldn't get it. They said, who are you? He said, I'm Bear. They said, you're all black. He said, yeah, because I jumped in the middle of that tree stump and the fire licked all around me and burnt me black, just like I am. Anyway, so he said, who else here is fit enough, wise enough, clever enough, whatever you are, to go and bring back the power of the fire? Now the first one to pop up was Crow. He said, yes, Crow, you go with the power of beauty. Now once upon a time, Crow, he wasn't black, he was coloured, he was multicoloured. A bit like my flowers over here, look. He was the colours of the rainbow, such a beautiful bird, the most beautiful bird there was with the most beautiful voice. He said, yes, Crow, you go with the power of beauty, bring back that fire, harness it for the good of our people. The crow flew across the water, and he just dived straight into that tree stump where the fire was in the middle. And where he just dove in, he got burnt and black too. Now this is Crow that we know today, the black crow, still burnt from that fire. So he wasn't any good and they still needed this fire, and Bear called out, is there anyone else? Is there anyone else that can go and get the power of the fire for our people? Now the next one to volunteer was Raccoon. And he went over. Bear said, yes, Raccoon, you with your tricksterness, go over and see if you can bring back the power of the fire. Now Raccoon, he swam all the way across the water. He got to where the fire was. He thought, I'm not going to jump right in like the others did and get burnt. I'm just going to hang my tail down. So he hung his tail down into the tree stump where the fire was, thinking he could pick a little bit up with his tail. Now, as he did this, the rings of the fire burnt all around his tail, the rings that were the life of the tree that he had jumped into for the fire. And they live on him still today. So when you see Raccoon, you see his tail all stripy like that. He thought, oh, I can't just give up. What am I going to do? I need that fire. So he put his eyes up to the knots that were in the tree where the fire was growing in the stump at the middle of it. Bang, crack, poof! Oh, suddenly he had a black mask all around his eyes. When you see Raccoon today, he has the black eyes and he has those stripes on his tail from the tree. Anyway, he'd had enough, so he swam all the way home. Bear said, who now can we find to go and harness the power of the fire for us so that we may cook, we may be warm, we may be able to see, to hunt? The next one thought about it. Owl, the bringer of life and death. He was the next one to volunteer. I don't know if you know, but lots of natives get frightened if they see an owl sat on their roof. It means that he is the bringer of life or death. Often they will shoot him. Now anyway, Owl, he flew over the water to go to get this fire. He thought, before I get involved like Crow did and get burnt with my lovely feathers, I'm just going to look through the knot. And when he looked through the knot, bang, crack, poo! Fire made his eyes open, wide open. Now, when you see Owl today, he's constantly looking about for the fire in terror because it was so big and so hot and gave so much light. But he thought, I can't do it, so Owl went home. Oh, they thought, somebody has got to be able to go and harness the power of this fire. Now, little water spider piped up. Excuse me, I would love to go and get the power of that fire for you. Bear looked at him and he laughed. Water spider, you with such a little voice, you just a little person. What are you going to be able to do to get that fire? I don't think that you have the tricksterness like Raccoon. I don't think you have the power of beauty like Crow. I don't think you're the bringer of life and death like Owl. I don't think you stand for love and bravery like Bear. What can you do? Water Spider said, please, please let me try with watching this fire. Please let me try and get the power of the fire for us. Bear said, sure, just so that I can go and laugh at you. We can all laugh at you when you come back, if you come back. Anyway, turns out Water Spider was a pretty good swimmer, and he swam all the way across that water so fast you couldn't even know it. And when he got to the other side, he thought, you know what, I may be little, I may be small, but I've been listening. And I'm not going to approach it like the others did. I'm not going to dive in and get burned. I'm not going to put my eye up to the hole and get blinded or something like that. So he thought about it for a minute. He played around the bottom of that tree stump where the fire was, and he started to dig out the clay from underneath. As he dug the clay from the earth, he made the first ever bowl, pottery bowl ever known. And once he made that bowl, he thought it needed a lid. So he kept digging and he made another little lid that sat on the bowl lovely. Now where he was, next to this fire, the fire cooked that pottery bowl just perfect. And then he could see there was a hole where he'd been digging that was at the bottom of this tree stump. He wriggled into that hole thinking, maybe, just maybe, I can go underneath and grab a little ember from underneath and put it in my bowl. Anyway, he did that. He got this little ember and it was in his hands and it was so hot. The more he blew on it, the more the fire started to get bigger and bigger and bigger. as the fire grew, the fire said, "Feed me, feed me." He said, "What shall I feed you?" He said, "Sticks and leaves, sticks and leaves." He gave him sticks and leaves, and the fire got bigger. And the fire shouted, "Feed me, feed me." Oh gosh, so he gave him some more sticks and leaves, and the fire got even bigger. By this point the fire was roaring, "Feed me, feed me." He thought, "Oh my gosh, I'm a little bit frightened now." So he stopped feeding the fire, and the fire slowly went back down, back to where it was small enough to be a little ember. And he put that little ember of fire in his bowl, and he put the lid on top, and he swam all the way back across the water to his tribe. And when he got back, he saw Bear, and Bear laughed. "Water Spider, you're back. Ah, let me see. Do you have fire? I can't see it anywhere." Water Spider said, "Hang on, just a minute, just a minute." And he got off of his back the bowl that was on his back, and he opened up the bowl, and inside the bowl was that ember of fire. And he remembered to blow on it. And the more he blew on it, the more the fire grew. And he knew what to do to feed it sticks and leaves, as it had said before. So he gave it sticks and leaves, and sure enough, the fire got bigger and bigger. It was so big, Bear, he was so impressed. "This little water spider, I am calling a powwow." For those of you that don't know what a powwow is, they invite a circle of the community to discuss any important matters. Anyway, he called the powwow together, and he reminded everybody, no matter how small you are, no matter what a tiny little voice you think you might have, it's little water spider, the little ones with bravery, that make an entire difference to their nation. So that's something to remember, really important when we're feeling weak, when we think we have only the smallest voice. We remember little water spider, and out of Crow with his beauty, and Raccoon with his tricksterness, and Owl with the bringer of life and death, with Bear the power of love and bravery, none of them could do it, just little water spider. So that's true, actually. It's a true story, whether you believe it or not. They call it Native American myths. Well, this is one of ours. Now, over where I come from, I'm a registered member of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. Put the fire behind me. And where I come from, there's a fire that burns in our headquarters of our tribal headquarters of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. And that fire is kept burning constantly. And that fire has been burning for thousands of years. And we've carried that fire on the Trail of Tears with us. And the fire lives today to remind everybody, no matter how small you think your voice is, no matter how unimportant you think you are, it just takes one little voice to make a difference to a whole nation of people. A little bit of inspiration. Well, I suppose Guy Fawkes made a little bit of a change, didn't he? He was just one person. Blew up the Houses of Parliament. What a savage. Anyway, I shall be back a little bit later. I've got some surprises for you. In actual fact, I've got one surprise already. Come with me into the Casbah. Right, in my kitchen, I've got something that the fairies left me earlier. So, let me just gather it. See if you might like this. Woo! I'm throwing it about. Special fairy dust. Good Halloween game came by with the fairy dust, doesn't it? Right, let's see what you think of this. It's for the fire. Are you ready? So here's the fire. You see the multicoloured flames? There's blue and green. When I take a picture of the sky, it's never that beautiful. Look over here. See, that's more orangey flame. And then in the middle, we've got green. From here, I can tell you that I can see orange, yellow, turquoise, royal blue, and a little bit of purple. Good old fairies, aren't they? So anyway, what do you think of my fire story? Did you like it? Give me some loves, peeps. I'll see you people. Elizabeth, Jackson, Jeffrey, Pinky, Jessie, Wavy Pavy. Lovely to see you all. I'm going to be back with a pyro bra. I don't have any sparklers. See you in a minute.